High drama. Cory Johnson joins us, Chief Market Strategist for Futurum Group, which includes analysts, content creators, marketing experts, has a podcast as well, the Drill Down podcast. So, Cory, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. I said, there's a lot here. I mean, it's high drama, first of all, so we can get to that.
Imagine?
And then, a lot of money. There's questions about AI in general. But what the heck happened here with Sam Altman, in your view?
I mean, we want to start with the big picture right away. We can, because the big picture here is that OpenAI started as a nonprofit and evolved into being a company for profit. And Microsoft got involved with about $13 billion in investment. The nonprofit history of this company is a conflict with the profitable side of the company. We don't have to imagine Terminator and robots taking over the world, but there's a philosophical argument about AI that sort of follows that plot line, which is, do we need to control AI more than we need to profit from an AI company? Sam Altman was on the profit side. The board, the few members of the board that were still left, 4 members of the board has reduced in size lately. Those few members took advantage of that and said, no, we got to have more guardrails in place. We can't trust this for-profit CEO. Even though the staff does, even though Microsoft does, those 4 board members did not.
Thought it had a little, it's different, but it had a little Steve Jobs 1985 vibes to it. I guess we need more time to figure out if it's as big of a quote-unquote mistake as it was when Apple kicked out Jobs, and the company was a disaster for a while, and he came back, and it was one of the more successful companies ever. But it's amazing how loyal these people that work at OpenAI are to their leader in Sam Altman. Is that financially motivated in your view? Is it a combination of a few different things? I mean, they basically all signed on and said, hey, kick this board out or we're out of here. We're going to go with them. Yeah,
you had 500 staff members put their names on a document saying, if you don't bring it back, we're out. And they probably have a job waiting for them at Microsoft. And look at Microsoft's balancing act. They own 49% of this company, where most of the employees want to quit. And the CEO just left and the president just left. And so they're saying, we'll hire that CEO. The kind of implicit challenge there is they're saying, we're going to build our own AI, even we might have lost $18 billion in this investment. So it's a really interesting balancing act here. I think the difference in the Steve Jobs era ousting of Steve Jobs was Apple was about to go under. Apple had really big financial problems, and Steve Jobs would admitted towards the end that he was so pig-headed he couldn't get around those problems and figure out what he knew later on in life to make Apple successful. OpenAI is a really, really important company, maybe the most important thing in technology since the World Wide Web, and that's why the whole world of business is focused on this.
Supposedly valued at $80-something billion in the private market, which is a crazy number. But go back to that first point you make, which I think is important, and maybe a lot of people don't follow it closely, didn't even realize. But, it was Elon Musk, he was part of it at the beginning, that kind of founded all this, helped to fund it. Because wasn't his thought, he's talked about this publicly a lot, that this, AI is getting a little bit out of control. And, he says, well, let's have this nonprofit. Then he leaves. But Altman, the guy who's with him, he takes it in another direction. And by the way, and I know this is going to be hard to follow for people, but the guy Musk brings in to be on the board was helping to push Altman out and has now changed his mind and wants him back. I mean, nobody seems to know. Yeah. I wonder how this is all going to end up.
Well, I think this shows a little bit of immaturity of the board. The board is not a corporate board, it's a nonprofit board. They have a different notion of what this company should do. But clearly, this business is built to be a business. At Futurum Group, we cover all these companies in technology, whether they're software companies, hardware companies, semiconductor companies. Every company in the world is focused on understanding AI and the ways that it's going to change the way business works and people work. This board is cognizant of those big ideas, but I think they're thinking about the big ideas and hoping that they can kind of slow down this a notion of reckless commercialization of AI. And it looks like they're having problems executing that dream ideal.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to do it now, whether it's Microsoft or some other version of OpenAI, or if anybody really knows.
Right. And that's the point, right?
Yeah, no,
Someone's
that is the point.
This.
You're right. I want to squeeze in one Elon Musk-related question, but not on this topic, although we're running out of time, and it's this. So Musk is defending himself on Twitter today, or X, because we talked about on Friday how these advertisers were taken off over this tweet that he responded to, the anti-Semitic tweet that he said to the person, you're speaking the actual truth, and this kind of thing. So now he's saying, he's defending essentially what he did, and he's threatening a lawsuit against this watchdog group, Media Matters. What do you think of that whole situation with Elon Musk, separate from what we just spoke about?
Look, Your last segment had the president pardoning a turkey, but the president is not pardoning this turkey. The White House is out talking about Elon Musk's defamation of Jewish people in support of anti-Semitism. And it's a problem. And I think that Elon Musk just doesn't understand this. When we read Walter Isaacson's book, we learned that he thinks his personal experience means it's impossible for him to be racist or anti-Semitic. And obviously that's not the case.
Right. And he's paying a... Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.